Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Monday Not So Live Show. The regular crew is here. Cheryl Snow in Las Vegas, Ugly Dave somewhere north of the border, and an unnamed guest that'll be joining us shortly. I have an awful lot to report on from Chicago HYROX. I want to know what your thoughts were watching from home, watching everybody in the world feed besides, like, not just my feed, but whatever else you were watching this weekend.
All right, you go first, Cheryl.
My first thought was it looked really, really good. It looked really full at some points. Like when women's doubles was out there, it was as full as it ever is for women's doubles. And that looked, that's kind of a turnoff for me. I don't want to run with that many people. But then, you get to the pro waves and it actually cleared out. It seemed like everybody had room. So I thought it looked great.
Dave, what were your thoughts?
It looked fast. Everybody's times looked fast, so it was definitely a quick thing. I did see some during the live stream. I was watching Cole's, and there was still some people, get out of the passing lane. Stop calling it the fast lane. Get out of the passing lane. If you're not passing, get out of there. You're in the way. So, but otherwise, it looked good. It looked very well attended. Everything looked great. It's hard to pick off stuff from the live streams that we saw, but it did seem to have a lot of quick times. So I'm wondering, was it a bit of a quick course? Was it not? I don't know.
Well, certainly not if I set a PR. It's not a quick course.
No.
Certainly wouldn't affect what I did.
Yeah, I got questions for you about
that. But you didn't set a PR. You were dragged.
I'm in shape. Well, that's
the
fact
that he was draggable.
Dave, you taught me that.
Yeah.
Pick the good partners. That's the way you do it.
Good partner.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, I will say, I don't know if people are getting better at just not sharing questionable content, but the movement standards looked great. I thought I didn't see, wall balls that seemed questionable. People seemed to be like right on point with movement standards. I also thought that some of the photography was really good, even just from the HYROX photographers. The finish line photographer, who knows who that person was, but man, they did a great job. The photo of you and Lauren, was that?
No,
yeah, the photo of you and Lauren was, I think, epic. And and then Imani Mitchell, who she listens to the show, and you may know her. She's great. And I was texting with her after her race, and it was miserable. Like she had a really tough time. It's a tough race, right? And it's been a while since she's run a solo, but she has a finish line photo that HYROX America posted of her jumping. She's wearing these colorful clothes like she always does, and she's just jumping for joy across that finish line. And we both agreed that, look, it doesn't matter how bad your race is. If you get that, at least I know Dave would say different, but you give me a good photo and it's kind of worth all the trouble.
It's something to take away.
One thing I noticed that they were doing, I can't remember if they did it for us, but I noticed it for the pros. The photographers who are already up everybody's nose had a light.
Oh.
And so because the lights in there are so unforgiving, they probably have to set their cameras a certain way. Like I don't. I just use my phone, which like your phone, those of you who don't know, I'm not a trained professional. I've made this up as I've gone along. I've learned the whole way. And I have a Sony that I've had for years that I've shot interviews with and I've shot races with, and they look extremely flat. And I'm like, because I brought it out this weekend. I was like, oh, I'm gonna step up my game a little bit. Let's get some real camera, not just the phone. And I shot some stuff, basic settings, and I asked chat, I'm like, why is my phone so much better? I go, is the phone lens better than this giant lens I have? And they're like, here's all the things iPhones do automatically. And it's a lot more than
process the whole thing. Right.
So here's some settings we can give you that'll make it a little better. And I'm going to fuck with it some before I get to Anaheim and certainly Phoenix, because I'd like to not have to hire a shooter, which I think sometimes I still will, because it'll be worth it and I can get extra good stuff and whatever. But a phone makes an idiot's pictures look good. That's right. And or an idiot's videos look half decent. And a real camera, you got to get all the settings right or it just doesn't really pop. And so I'm trying to work on that. But where was I going with this? So yeah, so they were holding these lights up, which I thought, do they need that? Like so that was one thing I noticed.
They were steady lights. They weren't flashes. It's just steady lights.
They were just holding a giant, like you would do if the event was at night, like you would do for World's Toughest Mudder. It was just like giant, like whoever's listening that watches the show, Brian Pickett or somebody, tell me what it was, but it's like a big giant light. It's like a little square. It's like a little square about this big, and it was like above their camera,
like a steady video light or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
I will say, I think that's probably what I was picking up on as far as it gave a depth to the photo. Like it made everything around you dark, and then it lit the actual subject so well that it really did make it look way cooler.
I never look like a push. You can look like pretty great no matter what, and finish line. Like for some reason I see like all these like women look amazing and men look amazing pulling, and I never do. So I don't know. Am I that bad at the ski erg that it never looks it just looks awkward. And some people have that, just the awkward pull. It's a weird place for your arms to be. So I never love my ski erg. I haven't looked at the ones I've gotten yet. They're already out because Lauren's sharing hers, but they're not great. Like I've never looked that great in them. I guess my question is, how much faster was Cole than Boston? Because Boston, he went fast.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is his fastest time. This first time going sub 55. I think Boston, he was 55:30 something around there. So this is about a minute faster.
I mean, are all these guys doing 54s and 55s in England? Are those all fast courses?
I don't know. I have no idea. But it does seem like there's definitely been an uptake.
So Georgia and Chicago both run in on the second. Okay. So 2-lap courses. In Georgia, you did not notice how fast the first lap was, and therefore this last one being longer. You know, that goes sometimes. This time it was definitely the first lap was, I think a minute faster for me, and the last one a little bit longer. So that was a difference. Kent and I were talking about this. Georgia still felt more square-ish, and Georgia felt more round, and this one was like huge straightaway. How much does the bridge help? You don't have to cut over. So how many seconds is that? Dave, have you done the math on that? I'm sure Anthony Parasini has. If it's 4 seconds every other lap, I mean, could it be that big? 2 or 3 every other lap for that wide turn? There's none of that with the bridge.
Yeah, I don't have the time. I don't know what makes. Hold on a second. Dog's going outside, very excited. I don't know oftentimes what makes the fast course, what doesn't make the fast course.
I sent the link to the wrong person.
Yeah, I think if anybody, if anybody knew the exact answer to what was making the courses fast and what was making them slower, they wouldn't have that issue because they would have that problem. So,
I just meant the specific. I guarantee you, Anthony's fucking figured it out. Anthony's out there scoping lanes, for Lauren.
Checking the concrete to see where it's soft and where it's rough.
Seeing with bad sled lanes and stuff.
He'll tell her go in third if the third lane is slow. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. The problem is though the rules state that you have to go where they tell you.
Right, but you can purposely let somebody cut in front of you to go in third instead of second. Yeah. I am so sorry to our guest just joining us. I sent you that link 5 minutes ago, Lauren. And
oh my gosh!
Except I didn't send it to you. I sent it to myself because I had a link to myself for something else. Welcome to the show.
You forgot about me.
I did not forget about you. Lauren, these guys are trying to say it was a fast course. What are you talking about? We did the work. Fast course. Rich Ryan, you and I are now basically twins. When people accuse you, how dare they, of a fast course when you break a PR?
Haha, I don't even think about that anymore. Fast, close, slow course, who cares? It's all the same in the end to me.
Yeah, Cheryl and I have a topic that we want to talk about, but I want to save it because we've seen a lot of fast times lately. So we'll save that topic. And I want to talk a lot about Chicago. And I want to talk about a lot that they're doing right. So I heard unofficially there was an issue with space. So typically where they're supposed to have like their whole kind of back of the house, they couldn't have it there, and everything was jammed closer than it was supposed to be, which explains a lot. Like if I was a vendor, I wouldn't have been thrilled. They're usually kind of on one side, right? Like here's like in Atlanta, they were all kind of on the back side, and then that's where the awards are later. And here you walked through, you go over the bridge, which even as its busiest time, that first doubles women day, there was no line going over the bridge. I thought for sure there would be. Couple of things to make clear to people. Number one, there is scaffolding about this high up, so you can't look over. I never saw anyone on there moving the traffic along because no one needed to. There is wheelchair and stroller crossing for people who are like, I guess they're just fucked. It's like, guys, I think a global company can figure out how to be wheelchair compliant. So there is a crossing for that somewhere else in the course. I forget where. I think under it maybe. But so it was. Then the first thing is the merch booth, and then it was pretty narrow. So if you're gonna see the merch, which was HYROX, and then Go Brewing, and then the amazing people at Amazfit, you kind of had to weave through. So that wasn't really great. But then that was the only super tight time. Was the awards were kind of crammed right there. So at awards time, now everyone watching the awards is backed up to where you're walking by. And that's the only time I had a problem of like trying to do this, like I've done in Glasgow and I don't know, countless other places, not countless, but places where it's really busy. What did you think about the space?
I honestly did not even think I didn't have any of those thoughts. I didn't notice. I didn't think about it. I only times are when people were trying to push their like giant, not even a stroller, but like a wagon, like the pushing the baby like carriage through like the narrow areas when you're trying to spectate. And there were just a couple times when it was kind of hard to spectate. But other than that, like I didn't think twice about it seeming crowded or anything. It was a little narrow at times, but I wouldn't have thought about it unless you brought it up.
You could move when you needed to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So that Chicago in January of 2020, which I love to refer to, was 533 finishers. And I've got all the finishers from all the years. I'm not going to go through it now. It's glad I took the time to fucking do that. But here's two numbers that are important. Chicago World Championships, June 2025. 3,980 people. All right, which like that's a lot of people, plus spectators and friends and family.
It's worlds, so it's different. It doesn't really count.
Right, but it definitely but it's a lot going on, right? It's a vibe. It's a lot going on. Latest count, 12,404 finishers, the biggest U.S. event ever, and that's like England numbers. England last year numbers, but still England numbers, like England 3-day numbers. So yeah. And again, never felt packed because that bridge was great. And because, the fucking sled push and sled pull are like 50 lengths deep, right? I didn't count them. How many sleds were there, Lauren?
Probably about that. 40 to 50 at least.
So, and again, I think like that's where in Atlanta, the Rock Zone felt so big, but it didn't feel as big here, like except for maybe getting to the wall balls. But did you feel like, and I ran with you, whereas in Atlanta, I was walking a lot of times in this Rock Zone.
I mean, I think I expected the Rock Zone to feel long because it's only a 1.5/1.75 lap course. So it's going to have to be long, right?
Right.
So I don't know. I mean, I don't overthink it like you guys do, I guess.
Well, I want to talk about our race because I want to say a couple things. I was considerably faster than Atlanta, which was just 3 weeks ago. And, even if you take away the 6 minutes that we did an extra lap for, what, a 4 minute, whatever it was, we're still like, I think 10 minutes faster. And even if the course is a little short, I don't know, give it another couple minutes. But I'm not that much more fit. And so I think the point is, it's all in your head. That's kind of what I'm getting
I
to.
agree.
That's all.
Wait, so people actually think it was short?
Well, Dave's over there accusing me of a short.
Okay, hold on. Let me just
I
say
didn't
this.
say it was short. I said the times were fast.
Okay, but here's this. Compare the sled push times. Like, I was curious, and I looked at my sled push times back to the good old days sleds, like before Vegas 2022, before they got the poles tall and took off a plate. And it took me 5 minutes to do a sled push. Now it's like 2 minutes.
Right.
Yeah.
But I'm just talking about like, I went with you and I said, hey, can we do this pace? So I want to talk about this, and I want you to jump in at any time, Lauren, and you guys can also feel free to ask questions anytime. I was like, this is the pace I need. Cheryl, I looked at our pace and I asked chat to give me that. What do I need to be steady? Like, not the jumps that you typically do and include, the first lap. So and I kept saying to Lauren, don't worry, we're going to be going so slow. It's going to feel so slow to you. Don't but here's what we're going to do. And I start my watch and it's not giving me, I can't get it to give me the pace. So I'm really annoyed and I'm fucking with it. And I'm fucking with it. I'm really annoyed. And I'm like, and Lauren's like, we're fine. This is the pace I run my dogs at. That's what we learned, right? It's like a 950, like really slow, right? 950 average, 950.
Is that what we ended up being on average?
Well, this is per mile average, not per K, by the way.
Right.
So then I can't get that to work, but I start it. And then somewhere in the first or second station, my heart rate says it's 188. And I'm like, we have to slow down, Lauren. My heart rate's way too high. And you were like, stop looking at your watch. And I did. And that kind of changed everything. And so then I was like, she's right. And it's like, just go by feel. And it's probably in your head. And the thing that Cheryl says that I always remember is like, people are afraid to feel pain. It's okay if it's uncomfortable for a minute or whatever it is. And certainly that was lying. I was at, it would have me at like 188 for like the whole race, basically, which I would have been dead, right, if that happened. So
Right.
Go ahead.
Well, none of the wrist mounted heart rate things are accurate, right?
That's
But I can kind of like when I'm out running,
burned like 105 calories, so I'm pretty sure it's not right.
When I'm out running, though, like it's a pretty good barometer. Like, hey, I'm gonna slow my pace down because, when it gets down a little bit, I can, recover and do another station or whatever it is. But I just trusted Lauren, my partner, and Lauren is the version of me for pretty much anybody that I run with. Like, I'm the one that's like, woohoo, let's go, woohoo. And I was not that person, but she was. So it was great. So she totally kept me positive. And the best thing you said to me, which again, super basic running advice, but it helps so much. Do you remember what you said to me? That was like the most basic.
Relax.
Thing? What's that?
Relax.
Relax. What else specifically?
Relax your shoulders and focus on your breathing. Just breathe, float.
And so every time I felt tired, I would do that. And then if I started getting in my head and thinking like, this sucks, I don't want to do this, this is too fast, what would I say to you, Lauren?
Isn't this so much fun?
I'd say, are we having fun?
Yet?
I'd say, are we having fun yet? And it forced me to kind of just get back into it. You know what I mean? It's like, don't wait for inspiration. It was like, fake it till you make it. I was like, are we having fun yet? And yeah, so obviously I can still go much faster. I have a lot more work to do. Lauren took like 90% of the lunge, and I did try to take it back from you, and she wouldn't have it.
You're making me feel bad about that. I think that honestly, so my thought in splitting the stations was not necessarily like I want to do more work it was more that I wanted to give you more rest for the run. So that was my mindset. I was like, okay, I'll do the majority of the lunges so you can be feeling more rested for the next run. And remember what I said, I was like, let's try to make this our fastest run yet, like pick up the pace for the last run. So that was where my mindset was. Not that like you would slow us down in the stations. It was that I wanted you to get rest.
No, and I appreciate that. But that also helped too, because like when we got to I forgot what it was. I think the first one was you were going to take the first set of BBJs. And so as we were getting there, you were like, hey, you're about to get a rest. So that helped me. Like, you're like, okay, it doesn't matter if I'm hurting really bad. She's gonna do a whole length of BBJs, and then I'm gonna start. Yeah, clearly I have a lot of work to do, and clearly I have a lot of fitness to work on.
You know what, though? You've come a really long way. And this was like all things I was thinking about when we were going. Because the first time I saw you row was at Rally in the Valley in like 2023, I think, when we did that. What was it called? The workout with the rowing and the dead ball over shoulders?
Row it and throw it.
Yes, row it and throw it. Like, your rowing was awful. And because first of all, you're doing what everyone does, pulling with the arms, going over the knees. And I heard the last podcast when you guys talked about the power curve, and clearly you've been working on it, and your rowing is a lot better. Like, it's really good. I mean, a lot of things. So you've come a long ways, a really long way.
Well, I appreciate that, but I also want to give a shout out to one Mark Howe, because my back was not feeling great. And again, super nervous, trying not to be in my head about it. Like, oh, if my back's already hurting, as soon as we hit the ski, I'm going to be fucked. And we do the pull, I'm going to be fucked. Like, all that crazy negative talk. And I come see you guys in the warm-up area, and it's like, oh, you've been on your feet for fucking 3 days, right? And then Mark performs surgery, I think, basically on me. Miyagi style.
Yeah.
And I think almost broke my rib cage because he's so strong, but it all worked. He just had me lay on my side and do some breathing, not the stretches that I normally do, not the like glute raises or all the normal stuff that I do, but just what was he doing? Just opening up my lungs more?
Oh gosh. Now, for me to be the one to explain this, he explains it to me every single day because he literally studies this.
Just give me the broad strokes so I can explain to people. Because the point is, I felt it on the row. I rode remember you said, look at that pace when I first got on the row, and I went out too hot. I've never rode that fast.
This is what Mark would say. He's creating space. So, like, essentially, he was explaining to me after, he's like, Matt shouldn't be doing glute bridges because all he's doing is getting his glutes super tight and is putting him back in that position where he can't open up his lungs. So just by doing some exercises and kind of adjusting like your positioning that way is going to help. And then the thing is like, it is kind of abstract and it makes a lot of sense, but it's something that takes like work every day if it's something you're trying to change about your body positioning. But yeah, like he knows his shit, and like, I'm glad he was able to help you.
No, it was like one of those things where someone says, like, reach as far as you can. Now I'm going to do this one thing. Now reach again.
Yeah, exactly.
So he did that to me several times. And again, I was just happy my back didn't hurt. And then when we got to the rower, I mean, I'm sure it paid off in other ways too, but I felt it on the rower. Like, when I'm rowing like casually, it's like 204 to 210 maybe. And then if I go really hard for a little bit, then it spikes to 219 by the end of my 500. And I was sub 2 and I didn't feel horrible. I still went out too hot, but I didn't. And I was like, what is happening? And I just think everything opened up. And I feel like, I don't know what you guys feel like, but when I watch the pro men and women and they're gliding and there's like 4 or 5 women go back and forth, and they're like perfectly gliding, I'm like, there's no way I look like that. Like, I might be doing it right, but it never feels that way. Like, the whole concept, I don't want to make this a whole show about rowing again, but the whole concept of the legs first, I guess I'm expecting to be 7 feet tall and to really push, and I don't feel this massive push. It's like almost immediately after my legs get extended, am I now here? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's gradual. So like, think of it like you're doing a deadlift. So if you're doing a deadlift, you're not yanking it off the ground. Like, you have to be gradually increasing that power as you stand. So similar thing, you can't like, with your feet, you can't push back as hard as you can because that's going to be jerky. And that will give you that weird like pitch on the power curve. So like, that's why you want to be gradual. Like, you increase your power as you go. And exactly what Dave said last time was like, you create the most power in the hip opening part. So, I mean, your rowing really did look good. I mean,
No, but I think that's why though, is that my hips are more open. So I want to work on whatever he did, because it was basically like hands-on, and he's like, oh, well, you can do it with a
foam roller.
with a foam roller.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna maybe find a video and then have teach Stacy how to do it, because he basically pushed on my lungs. I mean, he's really strong, but it worked.
Well, when he gets home, if you want him to give you a summarized version in under 1 minute, then I can have him explain better than me.
Okay. I didn't go through and look at all the math on all the runs and all the stations.
I have.
Oh, what do we learn?
No, just on your guys' run times.
And
you want to know your runs?
I would love to.
Okay.
I do.
First run, I'm assuming the first run was a short run.
Yeah,
Yes.
I told you it was super short.
Okay, 4:45.
So what is that in? What is that? I never know what that.
4:45 per kilometer.
I
But
know,
it wasn't
that
a
doesn't
kilometer,
help
so
me.
it doesn't matter. So who
Okay.
knows?
So for perspective, Matt, I'm actually a really consistent. All my runs in HYROX are usually exactly the same, and it's usually about a 4:45. So, yeah.
So run 2, 6:19. Run 3, 6:32. 6:19, 6:44, 6:25, 7:07, 6:57.
Pretty consistent. Except for toward
But I
the
wanted to
end,
compare them to me and Cheryl's times, though. That's what I was thinking.
Oh, all right. Well, I can look that up.
Oh,
Which one? In Vegas?
yeah.
Yeah.
Because that was okay. So I gotta say, first of all, Lauren, you know I love you, right? And I'm not jealous at all that you got mad at PR and I didn't. So that's not an issue. But it did make me think about how you get PRs as doubles, right? Because Matt and I, like, I was just along for the ride. I just wanted him to have a good experience. We just decided to split the work evenly. We just kind of were out there having a pretty good time. And I've thought about, because Matt, you and I got like a 128, I think. And I've thought about, okay, so what bought you the 5 minutes, right? And
No, we were 138, or
no,
You were 128.
right,
Yeah,
and me and
come
Lauren and Lauren and I were 123. And I want to quickly say that I let go of the time, and it felt great. But Lauren had to take medicine at 7:00, and so we were joking that the
Can
only
we
thing
just
we had.
remind the audience that she got out of the hospital
Well,
late
we
last
can talk about
week?
that in a second. Let me just
That's
give you this important piece.
ridiculous.
Let me
Yeah.
give you this
Okay.
important piece of data. We
Okay.
start at 5:40, and Mark goes, just make sure she's done by 7, and then you get the medicine at 7. So when we were coming to the second to last run on the lunges, Mark said 11 minutes to take your medicine. And then I started doing the math, and then I was doing that, and I was mad. And I know he didn't mean to, but then I was doing it all. I was like, okay, we're going to beat Cheryl's time. How much time we're going to beat it by? This is how long it's going to take. Like, I went immediately into that mode when I was just free and focusing on my breathing and all that stuff. But I knew we were going to beat it. And then when we did, I was happy. But go ahead, Dave. Compare the runs with Cheryl.
Well, I'm glad Cheryl was so polite. Your runs with Cheryl were faster
What?
by 2 minutes.
Overall.
Yep.
Well, clearly you're a workhorse then, Lauren, because
Yeah, the difference is
So-
definitively in the zones.
Well,
I mean,
that
I
was
think
my
so.
question: is
so
how do
if
you
you
get
look-
PRs? Yeah.
Your guys' sled push was 2:28. You, Matt and Cheryl, and Lauren, you and Matt were under 2 minutes for your sled
Yeah.
push alone. So there's 30 seconds there, right? So yeah, yep. So it was definitely
so you can
not the
split the
run.
work evenly, and it works great. But if you want a PR, you strategize. You figure
Well,
out who's going to be better
But
on
I,
the station.
but I think that's but there are a couple of things at play as well. Number one, I am in better shape, right? Then that was February. What month was that?
Yeah, it was February.
February.
Back then, I was still like just jumping in these races without much going on, right? And I've been consistently strength training
Yeah.
since.
And you had been sick for months. Like there was a
Well,
lot.
like after the pull, my back was gonna break, and like I'm doing it wrong. Like Dave, remember you gave me some good tips?
Yeah.
You changed my pull. I think about you every time. Where before I was just kind of yanking it and walking, and you were like, squat, feel the tension, start to walk back. Squat.
Yeah, I was
feel
telling
the
you, mass moves mass. Let your body weight and your lean pull the sled.
So that's
Right.
not what I was doing before. So all the basics that we've talked about these last few weeks that I've learned. So I'm going to say 80% Lauren, 20% my own improvement. How about is that fair? Maybe 60, maybe 70, 30. Like I've definitely improved a lot. And again, this excites me to learn that the running is still slow because I know just by putting more running back into my life and dropping a few pounds, that happens. That happens a lot quicker than learning how to master the ski erg.
You and Lauren were almost a minute faster on the wall balls.
Well, I don't know how many wall balls. How many wall balls did we do, Cheryl? Did I have to do it? Because I think that's the same.
Basically, we did half and half almost all the stations. We really did.
No, I thought I let you take the brunt of the wall balls for sure.
Maybe, but maybe only 20 more.
It's tough. It's tough when you know your partner can do 125 unbroken. It's really hard not to let them do all of them.
Go ahead.
But I wanted to, so I said, look, you do 20, I'll do 10, basically, which is kind of what Clayton and I did. And if I can do more, I'll do more. And so that's what happened. It was like 25 and 10, or was it 30 and 10 and then 25 and 10? And then
I did 20, you did 10. And then I think I did 30 and then you did 10 and then whatever equals. My last set was 30. So you did 2 sets and I did 3, right?
And I was going to jump in and say, let me throw 5 more just to give myself the work. But I was
hoping that you were, so that's what I was wondering. And I was like, do you want me to let you finish but you told me when you handed me the ball that I could finish it at 70.
Yeah. And now that's the one thing I think I regret is that I could have gone back in and pushed myself that much more. And I didn't.
Every race is a learning experience though.
Well, and this is the other thing I want to say is that the reason let's I guess, can I get into this now? What I wrote Cheryl yesterday. You go to the store, buddy? Okay.
Why would you write Cheryl that?
I want to know.
What I wrote Cheryl yesterday was, these times keep getting faster. What is everybody solving? Hello, Kitty.
Teddy.
What is left to be solved? That was kind of the question I was asking. And I want to say that little old me, in his 5th or 6th ever full HYROX, not counting relays, things start to click and feel different. You start to think about the stations more. You start to think about the race and how it breaks up. The second half of the race truly feels different than the first half of the race once you've done this thing a few times. So one of the things is it's not just the amount of training that's getting better. It's that when you've done 20 fucking 30 races, right? You're just going to keep getting better and better. So that's kind of what I wanted to talk about, let's talk about it from the elite side, right? Where they're getting fractions and fractions better. I mean, even a guy like Jack Driscoll to me was like Dylan Maragula. He's never going to be that decent at HYROX. He'll probably never make the elite 15, but he can probably do a doubles elite 15. And even he's cut off a ton of time. And I think it's because you get the reps and this race starts to look different to you.
That's definitely true. So I think that for me at least, it also depends. The more experienced you are, the harder it's going to be to get faster, in my opinion. But also you learn, it's a comfort thing, being comfortable pushing yourself and knowing when you can and when it's going to be okay. And I still think with you and your running that you could probably push harder, because I was noticing that when you weren't breathing very hard at all. So I think
then we should have run faster.
Well, I was trying. I dropped you on the farmer carry.
I do think, and we can talk elites because I do have thoughts about that as well. I'm looking at Cole Learn's run 7 pro men, right? Races. Jack Driscoll's run 11. And the amount of time that they have been able to drop is pretty remarkable. And I think there are a lot of reasons why the elites are dropping their times. But when it comes to us ordinary people, I do notice a difference between people who learn how to sit in discomfort and people who have not learned how to sit in discomfort. And that is something you train. And so my Tuesday is always out there doing something I don't want to do. Like I wake up in the morning and I'm unhappy that I have to do it and I don't like it when it's happening. And then I finish, and that's the feeling that I shoot for in a race. And that's helped me probably more than anything. And I don't know how many people are willing to kind of learn how to do that, but I do think that's how you drop time.
Well, speaking of which, I do want to say last thing about my whole thing was when I raced with you, Cheryl, it was how do I not die? Because the last few times I'd done DEKA Strong, I was laying on my back.
Right.
And so I was
you were in a very different place.
Pretty conservative is what I'm trying to say.
Yes.
Whereas now I'm a lot more willing to push, and it's like, what do they say? Like, well, trust your training. Like you've done the work. So trust that it's going to pay off for you, even when your brain is like, this hurts or this isn't going to work. Or I think I was going to say there's just people who are willing to be fourth or fifth in the first three stations. That to me seems to be a certain part of it. And people that just never don't do that. Well, I said I was going to not go out and then I did. What do you think, Dave? What percentage do you think is what Cheryl's saying versus just people who aren't smartly racing?
Well, I think there's a couple of things when we talk about faster times. The times at the very, very top aren't getting that much faster. Like we did have recently the men's record broke, but it wasn't by a giant ton. Nobody's touched Lauren's record in a while anywhere out there. So those times aren't getting faster. What's happening is we're getting more and more people getting closer. So the field is catching up, which is giving that optics of, that mean time is getting higher and higher and higher. So it makes it seem like the race itself is getting faster. I think what's happening now is twofold. One, you are getting people like Cole Learn, who is getting more experience, getting faster, getting his training more dialed in. Same with Jack, people like that. But you're also getting more incredible athletes coming from everywhere else, from all over, right? So when this sport first came out, the HYROX first came out, and everyone was like, this is built for Hunter McIntyre. No one will ever touch him. And I remember saying back then that there are other people like Hunter McIntyre that don't even know this kind of stuff exists, and they will eventually find it if it reaches that kind of level. And that's what happened. These people are starting to find it. So better and better athletes are starting to find the sport, and they're training for it, and they're focusing on it, and the times are dropping. So that's what I think is. I think it's just the field is getting deeper and deeper and deeper.
Would you like to guess? Because I did pull up the 2021 HYROX US World Championship. Do you know what Hunter's winning time was?
2021?
Yes.
Oh,
Over
59, 60.
What's that?
Over
59,
60.
60-ish.
101.01.
Because those sleds were so much heavier.
The closest next person was Dylan with a 104.56. Lauren Weeks ran a 105.18. Rebecca Hammond, 106.26. Rachel Schreiber, 112.19. 112 to be third in a U.S. Women's Championship.
Yeah, which is what everybody's running these days. That's not a big deal.
Yeah.
I will also say I do think that we're figuring out the training. This sport is so young that it's taken a while to not just sim yourself to death and think that's how I prep for this race, is just do sim after sim. I know that by training with Rich, which I've had the privilege of doing for ever since this has really gotten started, the kind of training that he has me do, I know I'm just one of his guinea pigs. I think probably he's always just trying
What
stuff
could this
out.
old lady take?
Yeah. Well, let's see if this works. Let's see how this works in Manchester. Let's see how this works in Nice. Like I've seen iterations of training that have come through, and they're getting less and less simmy and more rest. They're not blowing themselves up. They're not getting overtrained. They're not getting injured. And so therefore the cumulative effect of their training is paying off in the racing because they're not having to take time off for varying things. I think people are getting smarter as we've gone forward. And then to compound what Dave's saying, people who are already Hunter McIntyres in the making are taking advantage of that training, right? And so you hop on the hybrid engine, and Anthony's going to have a program for somebody who's already a monster, and that's going to help tremendously.
Sorry, I was looking for a video, so you guys keep going.
Okay. What do you think, Lauren?
I was gonna say Dave is 1,000% right, as always, as usual.
That's the way it
always.
normally happens. Where's my wife? Jesus.
When my first HYROX I ever did, I qualified for nationals, which was in Chicago in 2021, which is when I met Matt. And then that was in June, and then from that I qualified for Worlds, that was in Germany. Where was that German one in 2021?
Frankfurt.
No, it was I forget. But then when I got that email, I was like, this has to be a joke. Cause I'm like, what do you mean World Championships? Like there was hardly anyone there. And then when Mark and I won Vegas in 2022, I was like, well, this won't last. It's like I've always known like the people just weren't there yet. And I think that for me, like having done collegiate sports, like I know where I'm at and I know that I'm not the best at things. Well, I guess I know how many amazing athletes are out there is what I'm trying to say. If I go do a half Ironman and I see where I place, like there's so many athletes that are better than me and they're just out there waiting. And so that's all it is. And then I still remember saying in Manchester in 2023, I was like, every year we qualify for this, we're lucky because you never know. It's going to get harder every single year. So that's all it is. I mean, there's millions of elite athletes. Like they're just, and eventually it'll be interesting. It's really interesting to see how long Hunter and Lauren have been doing this, and they've been on the top for the longest. So I'm excited to see like the changes. I mean, last year was big. We had a whole new field in Elite 15. So yeah, it's just a matter of finding it and then getting one or two under your belt. And I think if you are elite, doing your first one, figuring out, okay, this is where I'm making the improvements, and they get 2 or 3, then they're like quickly improving.
Yeah. I mean, and there's more to come. There are more out there that still haven't heard. Like most of the gyms you go to, we know that this is blown up a huge, but if you go to most gyms, they still don't know what a HYROX is.
No.
And so, I mean, there's still so many more badasses out there that are focused on other things.
Well,
that could come in and be amazing with training and focus.
Well, I will say that, speaking of which, I forgot Cole Sager was going to be here, and that when I saw him at LT Games, he's like, "Oh, I'm taking this seriously," and he ran a 108, like not that
typical first HYROX.
What's that?
Yeah, typical first HYROX. You think
right? But I said, "How do you feel?" I didn't get him on camera. He was great. He was super gracious, like he always is. He was talking. It's funny, Tim, the with Amazfit, who I put on a couple of my stories. He's a big CrossFit background, so he sat down in the rower like next to Cole, and he was like, "Oh shit, I'm next to Cole," and I got them talking a little bit. But Cole said, I did a sim at this gym, and it was like 60, and it's like, right, because that's what happens at a sim, just like our old gang. It was like, oh, we're gonna break an hour, we're gonna break the world record. So. But he was there. Nick Matthew did another one. So these guys aren't just showing up for shits and giggles. Like some of them do, but they don't come back. The ones we're seeing coming back clearly are trying to get better at it. So
and they will.
Well, they will, and they're still not touching our guys. They're still not there yet.
They got more experience, right? There's no doubt the people that have been in it are amazing athletes. They always have been, and they've got a head start.
Yeah.
But this is just for those that think the minute a CrossFit athlete, chooses to do this particular WOD that we call HYROX is just going to take over, and it's still showing like what a specific skill set it takes.
Are you ready to go into your rant again? Because I thought that was the point. I thought you wanted to go about this rant. He said, "Listen to this. I have a rant."
Well, I don't know if you want to, like, it's nothing we haven't talked about. It was just stuck in my head, and I was mad. I was just mad about it, basically.
I will say I thought about I did listen to your rant on the way to the venue.
Good idea. That's what you should do.
And I agreed with you. But also I saw some HYROX people holding up signs that said CrossFit sucks. Like,
oh, we don't need to be doing that.
But that's what happens, right? I've seen it too. I see them battling.
HYROX people think they're the shit also.
Yeah,
so
it goes back and forth. And this, what the stupid part is that it really is all the same thing. Really. What are we doing? CrossFit, HYROX, the competitions.
Have-
It's all circuit
Party-
training. It's all a competitive circuit, every bit of it.
Well,
And
here's
circuit
the other,
training's
but
been
here,
around
but
since
here's
like
the
1950.
but here's the other problem. Speaking of 1950, somebody put up the clip of Glassman on 60 Minutes 10 years ago, and she goes, my mother, R.I.P., would be very upset. She said, "You didn't invent gymnastics. You didn't invent lifting. You didn't invent, what did you invent?" And he basically said something platitudinal. And then she goes, "But what about people who say you might get hurt doing this particular mode of training?" He said, "Well, tell them when they're sitting on the fucking couch eating Doritos, they're going to be way hurt, and they're going to be part of the 300,000 obese people that die of heart failure." And this is what I got when he said that. I'm like, right. When you talk in black and white and platitudes, right, you're never wrong, right? Because that's Joe DeSena, right? Same bullshit.
It's the exact line.
Right. Right. So, and again, this is the portion of my rant. If you didn't hear it last week, you had it, HYROX, sorry, CrossFit. It was right there for the taking. Mass participation. Let's take away these things that are really barrier to entry, but still keep you super, super fit. Varied workouts, different muscle groups, endurance plus strength, like all the pieces that make sense, right? And then good eating that goes with it, right? You had it. You didn't think of it. Spartan didn't think of it. These guys did and spent the right money in the right places, and now they're fucking crushing it. Will they crush it forever, Dave, like we discussed? Maybe not.
And this is my one part about your rant that we do have to keep in context is that, yeah, CrossFit is on a downswing and currently still making millions.
Are they?
Reported like 100 million last year.
All right. Well,
and again, we talk about, like you say, it is very different. And I have my issues with CrossFit. I didn't do the Open this year out of my own personal protest, but they still have hundreds of thousands of people do the Open. They still have like 10,000 gyms. They still are running a business that's very profitable, and they've been doing it for a lot longer.
Yes.
So while I don't disagree with a lot of what you said, we can't just say, hey, learn everything from HYROX, because what they did worked really well.
Correct. For a time, right?
Yep. And again, but that's the point is, if you save that speech to CrossFit, they might say, you boys are pretty new on the block. Let's see where you are in 10 years.
Right. And they said the same thing. I heard OCR was dead from 2016 on. Never stopped hearing that. Well, it's dead because it went from this many people a weekend to this many people a weekend, right? But I saw you, Dave Claxton, you just commented on somebody's post with the exact same thing.
Yeah. Which part?
Somebody did a HYROX versus CrossFit thing, and you said a thing about the complex movements.
Oh yeah, I've always believed that that's what kept me out of CrossFit, was the complex movements and the high skill gymnastics and stuff like that. So yeah, I think it'd be better without it. But that's
so here's the, if you don't know what we're talking about, by the way, it was just me going off on 10 minutes about why HYROX is so popular. And I want to, for me, since I go to a lot of these races, right? Don't always race. I try to see what feels different. Like, okay, what do I notice? It's not just, is it bigger? Because that's kind of the easy one, but what feels different? So the part that jumped at me was how much this sport is built for the families and friends. And obviously it's well, duh, but all the places that people like to celebrate fitness, like our friend Yancey says, right? In an obstacle race, you're out there, it might be cold, you got a stroller, it's dirt. Where are they? I don't know. What time did your wave start? I think they came through an hour ago, right? Here we can watch them the entire time. Let's bring signs. I really wanted to find this video and this picture. There was this cool family, and this grandmother, and I know she's the grandmother because that's what it said on the thing, spent I don't know how long making this thing, but a long time. You can do it. We love you. Like all this shit, right? So everybody's getting involved. You just like people do for a marathon, except a marathon, you might see them twice. And again, it's cold. It's kind of a schlep. And here we come in, even though I love to give HYROX shit for basically doubling or tripling the attendees with family and friends. The family and friends are coming and they're making the big giant heads and they're making the signs, and everybody's in there buying all the fucking merch because the word HYROX is the coolest thing to own right now. And of course, it can't keep going up this thing. But if the folks at CrossFit could just go, yeah, that's awesome. And if you ever want to try to do some of this other stuff that we do, cool, instead of hating on us and hating on us. That's what just gets me so mad, is how much they hate on us and how silly they are. And why, Dave, why I do agree, bringing back Forging Elite Fitness is the absolute wrong message. It's the Greg Glassman, Joe DeSena wrong message for today's audience. Agree or disagree?
Me or someone else?
You.
It's tough. I mean, it's tough because if they do the exact same thing as HYROX, right? They're just going to be that same direction, right? If they continue to go on their thing, because you got to remember, for them to do what you're suggesting is a complete change in ethos. So it makes it very difficult for them to do, and you may lose your core audience who is completely against that. I also think that very often we are hearing the vocal minority. Like, I don't think every CrossFitter hates HYROX. In fact, most of the people I see out at HYROX have done CrossFit, right? So I think what we hear is the vocal minority, right? We hear an echo chamber of different podcasts and people and the same comments from the same people we see online. I think the real majority of them don't care and are just out for a good time. So is Forging Elite Fitness the wrong move for them? I don't know. I guess time will tell. I can definitely see your point as to how this has worked so well for somebody else, but does that mean you do the same thing? Do you try to recreate McDonald's, or do you make KFC? I mean, it's business and a gamble either way.
Cheryl, you look like you wanted to say something.
I don't know what CrossFit's goals are, right? I think HYROX has invented mass participation fitness events, right? Like, that's what they can say. No matter what happens to them in the next 10 years, they're the ones that have figured this out. Does CrossFit want that? And if they don't, then are they just mad that we're excited about HYROX? Like, and I do agree with Dave. Most of my CrossFit friends are not in this fight. Like, they don't care. Like, they go do HYROX and they're fine with it or whatever. It's fine. Maybe they're just having an issue with what they want to be, because I think if they want to be the Forging Elite Fitness, then head that route, right? They may not make a ton of money doing that, but it would be a great niche for the small percentage of people that would want to pursue that.
I don't know. Lauren, you've been in that world.
Well, yeah. So I think that CrossFit did something amazing in that they made fitness something you could compete in. So, like, if it wasn't for CrossFit, starting that, I mean, maybe something HYROX would come along, but CrossFit changed so much for a lot of people. It's like, for me, like, coming out of a college sport, taking 2 years off, just running and lifting and thinking my days were over, being able to compete again in something was the best. And I will say, so in HYROX, some people might get burned out because they're doing the same shit every single day. They're starting to plateau and they get frustrated because they realize they're never going to make it in late 15, or they're never going to qualify for Worlds, or never get a podium flag, because that's all people want. But with CrossFit, and why it worked for me at the time in my life that it did, is because it always kept things interesting, because I was always trying to learn a new skill. So the skilled movements, which are definitely not for everybody, I really enjoyed getting a new skill. So it's kind of like competing in a different way, that you really want to get your first muscle up, or you really want to be able to get handstand push-ups or whatever. Again, not for everybody, But that's why I loved CrossFit when I did, and why I did it for so many years, because I always had something I was working on and training for. Whereas I think with HYROX is more likely for people to, if they get caught up in the times and not PRing and like getting frustrated with the results, then they're like, all right, time to try something else. But with CrossFit, you always are going to have a skill to work on. And then even like with the Olympic lifts, like people do only the clean and jerk and snatch for their only 2 movements ever, and do that for their entire life. Like you'll never run out of things to work on, and you'll never stop achieving goals if you work for it. So that's why CrossFit's great. And I think that and so as we were listening to your podcast and your rant, like whenever Mark and I are in the car together and we listen to podcasts, we pause it and we never get through it because we stop and like talk about it. And Mark was saying is like, yeah, like comparing like the CrossFit like throwdowns at the gym and then the HYROX simulation. Like people are doing the HYROX sims, but I'm like, but it's different because a HYROX simulation doesn't really mean anything because it's not legit. It's not, people are just get a ballpark idea of their score. They're not judged, whatever. But what I will say is that CrossFit competitions that I've done have always been extremely strict on judging. And to get a certain time in like a CrossFit competition or place a certain way, you can be confident that was legit. And then the people you are competing against were scored to the same standard as you. So
Unless
like,
it's Murph.
What's that?
Unless it's Murph.
Oh God. Well, Murph is never a competition, no. Because that's when things become something where you're submitting a score online that's like people, yeah, Murph, like, yeah, that's I can't.
But there weren't a ton of grandmas coming down to the box to watch a CrossFit WOD. I mean, to watch a competition. That's sort of my whole thing.
Like it's as in spectating?
As in why it's exploding and why they're capturing the world of fitness at this time.
I mean, I think it's much more closely related to triathlon, and that it's a like always the same basic movements.
I guess, and there are people who are listening who are like, thank God you just said all that, because like you just spoke from the honest, not judgy place of here's what I got out of it. I always had a new thing to test for. I always had all that's true. And my whole rant is about they're about to sell again. And like, how do we stay relevant in a time where fitness is just growing by this, just every time you read another statistic about races and companies and gym, what do you call it? Acquisitions. We're in a time when it's really cool to be fit, and they could probably grow if they just shifted a little bit. I'm not saying be CrossFit.
And then going back to what Cheryl said, like
be HYROX. I'm saying don't lean so hard into. Again, something I said in the rant is like there were people that would always email, why isn't this Spartan race harder when Norm was around to design these courses up a mountain? And those were the lowest scored Spartan races every time from a Q score. So do you want to get customers, or do you want to really make those people happy? That small people that want to constantly.
If you watch a CrossFit event that's streamed on TV, you always see the video story of the 70-year-old woman and of the masters athlete getting their first muscle up and stuff like that. So they do push to that. Now it's not designed in the same fact as a mass participation, so it's not as visual. You don't see it as easily as you see it with the HYROX. And I'm not disagreeing. I'm just saying that they do these things.
They could launch their own fitness race and call it CrossFit, right? And just do the stuff they do at the games without the complex movements. You can still do all the stuff, let's say, that any athlete has in the third part of an athlete, running with a heavy bag, dumbbell ground to overhead, which again is like complex compared to breathing, but it's not really a complex movement, right? Like that kind of stuff that an average gym goer could learn to do in a day, right? We talked about that once. Like, can I show you in a day what this thing is versus a muscle up? So I'm just saying, if they let go of that ego of Forge Elite Fitness and our warm up is your workout, they could compete and therefore perhaps catch the wave that's happening right now called fitness is cool and don't be such a dick about it.
but do they want to? I guess that's my question.
Right.
Yeah. Like I think they can't be angry about and again, this is a small percentage. They can't be angry about what other fitness companies are doing if they're unwilling to do something that's
Are they angry? That's my question.
Yeah, I don't think everybody is. And
Am I just taking it too personally? Is
know,
that the problem? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
I'm just taking it too personally?
I think so, yes.
I think you're definitely in the, in the bubble, right? Like you hear this all the time and this is your job. And so you're reacting to what you're hearing from. I will say, Dave, I know I see those, heartfelt stories about the, 68-year-old woman who wandered into a CrossFit gym because she thought it was something else, and that is not my experience with CrossFit.
Nor is it mine.
No, I think
She
they
thought it was
want
a
to find
pottery
those
class,
people.
and then they handed her a barbell.
Yeah. It's like, oh, look at me. I can do a clean and jerk. So I don't think that that's actually what it is. I do think that they are rightfully very proud of the kinds of things that people are able to do. I think every CrossFitter I know is a superhero. Like, I just can't believe what they've been able to accomplish. And that cannot, by definition, be a mass participation event. It just can't.
So RX1, been around since 2012. They are your mass participation CrossFit. That is what they do. Now it's smaller numbers, right? You're looking at about 500 people per event, but that's what they do. They do a mass participation CrossFit. And it can work. It can be done, but it's really difficult and takes an insane amount of judges.
Ethics really is a perfect combo.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to try it. I really think
it's coming to the U.S., ladies and gentlemen.
You better stop saying that till you have a city name for us, Matt. That's all I have.
I have city names. Listen, I've been promised a long, long time. I've been given names. I will be recording a show shortly. What can I tell you? What can I tell you?
You don't have names if you can't name the names. You don't have names. I have a Ferrari. I can't show you, but I have it.
That's right.
Listen, God damn it. Other times we would talk off camera and I would say, listen, I don't know. This time I've got cities. And if they prove me wrong, I'll be really upset. Guess what else might have a city coming up? Another competition that we like. Maybe, just maybe. That's all I'm saying.
Really?
So
we should have a lottery or something. We should have people guess.
They already posted on Instagram. Did you guys not see it?
What they post?
Long Island.
What? Who? For who?
You're talking the pictures?
No, they said coming to Long Island. Someone sent it to me.
Cool. Show me.
What's
coming to Long Island?
Long Island, that's New York. I don't like going to New York.
Dave hates New York.
Hold on.
I like the state. I don't like New York City.
Coming to Long Island.
New York City.
That's what someone sent me the post. Hopefully I'm not.
All right, you look for it while I bring up the one other thing I wanted to say. Not the one other thing. That's all I have.
I want to talk about the drug testing in Chicago.
That's one of the things I wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
So
it sure seems like a lot of people got drug tested.
So someone said to me, they took like 8 of us because I said, did they test the top 5? And a woman who can come on the show and say who she is, but I don't want to say because we didn't said. I think they grabbed like a bunch of us. It was like 8 of us. So maybe it was 7, maybe it was 6, but it wasn't just 5. And a couple people said, well, I didn't get tested. And I'm like, do you have a license? They're like, nope. Like, that's why you didn't get tested. So
if you have a pro card, no matter where you fell
they could test you.
They could grab you, but it's the pro card that's the ticket.
It's also what gets you in the first wave.
Right.
So those people they tested before the pro card, they can't test them, right? When we had testing before we had pro cards.
No. Remember, it was this whole legal thing we were trying to solve. Like,
I know. I'm just backing up my point about it.
So that was cool. So I think that's good. I think that's good news. They're doing it. And Matt Locke said to me, we wanted to test in each of the 3 big regions: UK, Europe, APAC, America. This was our beginning of the season test.
Mm-hmm.
Now, be ready. I'm sure that we'll hit a bunch shortly before Worlds. I'm sure we'll hit somewhere else, somewhere in the middle. So that was the deal. You know how when you're driving down the road and you're not doing anything wrong, and then you see a cop sitting there and it terrifies you? I don't know why, but the person I was talking to last night about, she got tested,
And by all intents and purposes, look, anybody who's got a pro card and anybody who's in that first wave is an incredible athlete, but she would say that she's average at best, right? Like she's never going to be on the podium, for, these big races, and never is going to be toward the Elite 15. But when she told me she got tested, I don't know, it would just scare me to death. I just
take it,
did
Cheryl.
I eat a poppy seed muffin,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I think it's great. I think it's really kind of exciting.
I think it's great too.
Really fast. I read it too quickly. So like the first, when you click on a story and it highlights a comment.
Yes.
The first one I saw was like, let's go Long Island. And like, I didn't click on it because I hate
So it looked like it was part of the post, but it was a comment on the post.
Yeah. And I didn't want to like actually like play this. I like whenever anyone sends a reel, I immediately like can't watch it because I hate the sound of music and stuff. So I obviously clicked out of it really fast and probably saw the Statue of Liberty and assumed it was New York. But anyway,
well, I think that we should continue the rumor anyway.
Well, I did say to them, are those the cities? Because that's what Americans will think, because that's what HYROX
Skylines
does and DEKA does.
Mm-hmm.
And he kind of said we kind of didn't think about that. So I can say that maybe one or two of those cities is and one of those cities isn't, but that wasn't their goal. Their goal was, here's the East Coast, the middle of the country, and the West Coast. And they just thought, that's America. So there you go. These foreigners.
Omaha, Nebraska.
So listen, hopefully they will trust me like many have in the past and like let me help them introduce this thing to America.
Yeah.
So
you need to quit talking about it until you can tell us cities. That's all I have to say.
Listen, I'm just the one who wants more fitness races. That's all I want. And this will definitely get more CrossFitters because of the lifting parts, and it's more strength based. So there's that. Do we want to talk about DEKA's expansion to new cities, including 3 days in Boston?
More money for me.
Did you know these were coming, Dave? Did you have any idea?
No, I actually don't. I don't get involved in any of that really. I've heard, I heard there was going to be more, and they were trying to aim for bigger cities. But as to like actual planning of things like that, no,
or market research, or
no, I don't do
anything, right?
Nothing about any of that stuff.
Is it because of the affiliates that are there? You know what I mean? Like it is it giving affiliates the opportunity to feed into that? I was very curious about why they would just decide to expand so quickly, and are they adding a budget? How's this going to go? So
yeah, I think they're just headed to the bigger cities. Like you say, they're trying to grow it, right? And you try to grow it, you got to do something. They've done the cities, they've done a lot, and now it's time to try to go bigger. So they're making their attempt. They're taking their stab at it.
I am thrilled that they're in Boston and not, East Bumble, right?
Yeah.
Navy Pier in Chicago. I mean, you cannot go wrong. Yeah.
But can they fill 3 days in Boston? And is it one of the days is an ultra, or what was the math that we figured out, Cheryl? Like the most they can do is 1,000 in a day or 1,500 in a day?
I thought it was maybe 1,200 tops if you're releasing 6 every 2 minutes or something like that. It's been too long since I remember, but it's not huge numbers.
I think we should you know what we should do? They should increase
2,500 in a day if you have the right amount of judges.
So it's a judging issue that they'll just
that is one thing I have done is I've gone through numbers, because it's always been how many judges do I need to get through how many people, and max capacity. I really believe you're in the neighborhood of about 2,500 a day.
Well, what if we lean into Forging Elite Fitness, Joe DeSena, Be Tough, and we just enforce LT Games rules? So if you get caught on a bike, you just boom, you're out. Right?
Immediate DNF.
Increase the number. No, it's 3 stations. You get moved, your third move, boom, you're done with your DEKA.
Sorry, baby.
Sorry.
Well, okay, but Dave,
Jackson just out there headhunting everybody.
Yeah.
Just looking to ruin everyone's day.
Tara and Janelle out there just taking souls.
Let me tell you, I don't know the name of the guy that Tara was coming up on, but he looked like a decently fit, regular human being. And he had no chance. I mean, he just kept falling farther and farther behind. She was
girl won't stop coming.
Yeah, it was terrible. But anyway, okay. So Dave, So
should we announce what they are in case people haven't,
Okay,
they missed
yes.
their feed?
Yeah.
Dave, and I know you don't necessarily, they don't ask you your permission, but I am curious, and you don't ever have to tell us. My feelings.
No, I get that. And to be honest, like I would tell you if I knew, much like you know cities. So if I knew something, I would tell you I know it, but I don't. I almost deliberately don't dwell in those areas, and I just do with what I do.
Yeah. A, you get to focus on what you focus on. B, when people ask you, you can say, I don't fucking know.
I don't fucking know.
Yeah, but are you getting emails from them giving you a heads up? And are you getting, say, authorization to hire more judges? Are you going to go to a certain
No, and
pool
again,
of-
I don't do that.
Okay,
All I do is I train, like on site, I train the judges that we have, right? I place them where they should go and do a lot of organizing that way. And then I try to oversee and do a lot of judging myself, right? So the things that I do in between races are very, very much rule centric and rule book centric and dealing with things like that.
I do have a HYROX rule to bring up.
All right.
Actually, I do want to talk about Cheryl said, are they only showing us good reps? I want to say that because of Elite 15 standards and people talking about it a lot, I have seen a marked difference watching people do BBJs trying to get their hands down versus the Superman, which again is kind of natural to lean forward. Were there people that needed correction? Of course. Were there people that kind of didn't have a clue? Of course. But I'm saying like lots and lots of open waivers doing the thing, which is like it's not quite natural to put your hands straight down.
I noticed that too for sure. And better technique.
So that's a leveling up of the sport.
That's nice.
Wall balls,
Man.
it is still a crapshoot, but it's also like getting depth is like a whole nother set of like doing burpee draw jumps takes longer, but you still could do it. Just putting your hand in the right place. Form and are you deep enough and judges, and I'm still hearing judging all over the place.
Yeah.
So Ryan Kent apparently got 20 no reps.
Who?
Other people on the comments, I got no rep to ton. I thought my depth was fine. I got a head judge to fix it. So it's still wonky. Someone did write in the boxes comment, we always make them do them first. We don't just give it when they ask. But then we also heard in the UK how they were constantly just going like, give me the bucket. And people were doing it that way. So I think we still got a way to go, but a marked improvement on BBJs, which is, I think, again, shows a leveling up of the sport.
You know what I think about those boxes is that they should only be allowed in the open division.
Well, that's
and then if you can't squat below parallel and you're in the pro division, then just don't finish.
I said that about my good friend
Actually,
Corinna. I mean, sorry, not Corinna. Faye. I said that about Faye. Faye could not do wall balls in her first Chicago in that 2020 race that she won.
They can.
What's that?
They can.
No. Well,
if you can sit on a toilet, you can do the wall balls.
But the point was, if you need that, you probably shouldn't be in the elite wave. That was the point. That was the point. So I agree for sure. I mean, we'll never see one in the Elite 15, but even the pro waves, you're saying.
Yeah. No way. And then the judging should be very strict.
But I feel like I saw pretty good.
People still don't know what below parallel is. They do not.
I think late in the day, it gets pretty. And I said that to Tim, my guy from Macefit. I said, you're racing a pro wave. At the end of the day, you're after the big pros. I said the judging is probably going to be all over the place because he had a lot of questions. You know, he's done CrossFit, and we asked a judge. We were watching them do BBJs, and I was unclear if your hands have to be behind the yellow tape or on the yellow tape. Now, before you guys answer, we asked this nice lady, nice gal who was judging. She goes, I don't know. So she's telling people to do something all day, but never quite got that right. The rule book says behind the white lines. So why is the yellow line there at all? Just say start before the first square. Why is the yellow line there to confuse us and say on or behind? I always go behind it just to be safe. What is your understanding of the rule, Cheryl?
I always just go behind the line to be safe. I just don't want anybody to give me a hard time.
But if the rule book says behind the white line, it says behind the line that's behind the white. It says your hands on the tape behind the white line. Why not just say behind the white line?
Yeah, I don't know.
They're making it. That's the rule.
So here's another rule that came up that we discussed at the Hamburg race, which was our good friends, Kim Stockelmeyer and Dustin Needham, finished their wall balls, and Kim was, Dustin finished, so Kim was opposing him, and so she took off for the finish line. And they're like, "Oh, you can't run between people." And I just wrote to everybody, check the rule book, because I didn't want to bother to look, and nobody wrote me back. But then I did check the rule book; doesn't say anything.
Right.
So if she had come from the far end of the thing, I would have been like, "Yeah, don't do that." But I think they were the third lane in, and there was somebody right next to them they were battling with. So she took off. But that's not in the rule book for anybody listening and paying attention.
I saw more people running through the middle of the rig than I've ever seen. It seems to be now a new strategy for doubles.
Well, I would say, like we learned in Hamburg, it's going to be a problem if they don't figure it out. It's definitely going to be a problem. You got people waiting to go because the stupid penalty rule.
Yeah. And if y'all are just doing piggyback over the finish line every time, that's just going to really slow things up.
Well, Lauren said, let's do something different. And I said, you said, what do we do with the finish line picture? And Mark said, well, you should carry Matt like a baby. And I'm like, I think I weigh too much. Why don't I get on your back? And I thought we would do it right at the bottom of the ramp. You wanted me on your back as soon as we finished the wall balls. And we were 3 or 4 in. And I was like, are you sure? And you're like, yep. And so I hopped on.
I just got out of the hospital. That's why she didn't notice that it was crowded there. She was just out of the hospital.
I still had drugs in my system.
Exactly.
Right.
You're just happy.
So I want to go back to this Boston DEKA. Okay. We were going to announce the city.
Hold on. Just for the record, it says, like Matt says, behind the white line.
It does
nothing about a yellow line. They've just put a yellow line.
It says hands on the tape. Doesn't it say hands on the tape behind the white line?
I will read it to you. It says, the first burpee of each section starts with both hands placed on the ground / contrasting colored tape behind the white line.
Right.
With the racer's chest on the ground.
So we're supposed to put our hands on that yellow tape.
Yeah. Yeah. According to the way the rules are.
Right?
No, it seems stupid. Just put it behind the white line. That should be fine.
Yes.
All right. DEKA Fit Boston. We're about to go big in 2026 with a brand new 3-day event, June 26th to 28th, 2026. Now here comes my complaints. That every race company does, and I fucking don't know why. Who will we see in Beantown next summer? Guess what people who live in those cities hate? When you call it the stupid touristy name that no one actually uses. It's not Beantown. It's not Hotlanta. It's not San Fran. Stop saying it. Second thing, Spartan puts a link to click. Guess what? You can't click links inside of an Instagram post. Stop doing that. Next one. Chicago, the Navy Pier. Let's go there again. Dude, I got the Navy Pier fucking nailed now, by the way. I know the exact number of minutes it takes to get from the bridge to the coffee shop that's inside of the Sable and the Navy. Like, I'm rocking it now.
Navy Pier has a Giordano's pizza, so I'm all for going there.
Lauren, are you a DEKA affiliate? Is your gym a DEKA affiliate?
I would be. I can't buy that equipment right now. I would love to be.
But you will help people train for that, do you think?
Oh, yeah. In fact,
she'll refuse. I want to train for DEKA. Fuck you. We're Fortune Elite Fitness over here.
No, so I want to do a road show. I'm going to reach out to the guy that's local here and see if he'll come like host one, because I already want my people, because a lot of my members have done DEKAs. And I was excited to share that we'll have a DEKA Fit in Chicago next summer.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
It's not the same weekend as like Worlds or something, but anyway, no, I love DEKA. I really love DEKA especially for that's most of my clients like first like kind of competition.
It's the best entry into functional fitness competitions. I mentioned in my class a couple weeks ago, hey, Vegas tickets for HYROX are going on sale. Do we want to put together a team, for a relay? And we ended up getting 2 relay teams that are going to sign up. But there were people who were signing up for this, not knowing at all what they were getting into. And I just thought,
were they like, where's the bingo?
Kind of that,
early
right?
bird special.
they because they work out in that gym, they feel very fit, and I think in the general population they are, but in the HYROX population, could they do sandbag lunges? Probably not, right? Like that's just asking a lot. And so I have introduced them to DEKA because they will be able to do DEKA, right? Like it's not going to be this giant hurdle.
So the Chicago DEKA Fit and Ultra, another 3-dayer, July 10th and 12th. And now that I think about it, that's probably expensive. Like, Chicago November, that's not typically a busy time for Navy Pier. It's cold, right? But July, hot. So I assume it's a happening place. But sure enough, who will we see in the Windy City next summer? Followed by a link.
Does that really bother you?
Listen, what have we learned?
I don't know. People call Toronto all sorts of things. It never bothers me. I don't care.
The Windy City isn't as bad as Beantown or Hotland.
When you said Beantown, I thought you meant Chicago because of the bean. I'm like, that's abstract. Like, is that what we'll call it?
It works.
Okay, we ready for the third one?
Yes.
Philadelphia.
Okay.
DEKA Fit and Ultra. Not Spooky Nook, not middle of nowhere, actual Philadelphia at the Pennsylvania Convention Center. Who will we see in the what, Dave, next summer? Who will we see in the blank next summer?
What is the city of brotherly love?
Ding, ding, ding. You are correct. I'm going to clip that and put that on Instagram. That was so good. So is it Ultra in all 3 cities? Did I read Ultra right? In all 3 cities, was it only 2 of the 3?
I think you're actually going to hit, if you look at the schedules there and stuff, like if you go on the website and look at the different venues and there's ultras at everything, I think you're going to see the ability to do an ultra at almost every event. Because what I think on this one, what they're finding is that a lot of people wanted to do it, but it was kind of the thing where there was few chances. But it doesn't really be like, this because you can't have so many people. You waste a whole day on very few people doing it. So if you can put it into each event, people get the opportunity to try it and get to do it while you're not wasting an entire day on a couple of hundred people to do the ultra.
Okay.
So I think you're going to actually have more opportunities to do ultras. I think what you're going to see a lot of too is you're going to see a lot of 4-person relays. A lot of team stuff.
My bigger question is, how's affiliate growth going? Like, is it keeping up? Because DEKA or HYROX keeps saying bigger and bigger numbers, and half of them are like, F45s that they just got in the deal. But for DEKA, like we know in the UK, there's people unaffiliating with HYROX and doing it with DEKA and starting with DEKA, and over here it's kind of the opposite, right? They did DEKA for 3 years and they're upset for whatever reasons. Now they're trying the HYROX one. I'm wondering, how's the overall growth going? I'm guessing it's pointing up. I'm guessing the arrow's pointing up still over here.
Again, not my area, but I'm thinking that it's doing okay. They seem to be, I mean, if it wasn't doing okay, I can't see them trying to expand like this. Right. So I would think that having these things in cities, like bigger cities, would help the expansion as well. So I'm assuming it's doing well, but I honestly don't have any kind of facts and figures or anything like that.
Do you think it would be, whether they ever would is a whole other conversation, but do you think it would be smart to do what some of these races have done in England, where they're like, did you get sold out of HYROX? Come do our thing. Do you think that would be good marketing or bad marketing?
If you went straight out for the marketing for that, I don't think I would do that. Straight out marketing. It's something you'd say in the gym. You tell your affiliates to tell people in the gym, but I don't think I'd make posts about that or anything like that. Yeah.
Well, I can say it does make going to these things more attractive. Like, oh, cool. Like, it's actually like, it's not like, fuck, I got to rent a car, kind of like an OCR. I got to rent a car and drive way out.
we all know that they're very different experiences, a HYROX and a DEKA, right? So different. And intentionally. I can just say that if, you know, obviously not everybody can't say speak in absolutes, but if you go out to a HYROX, you're probably going to have a great time. If you go out to a DEKA, you're probably going to have a great time. It's just like you're usually going to get what you're asking for, right? Matt is all of a sudden confused. He saw a message.
You're usually gonna get what
you're gonna get what you expect. You're gonna get what you pay for, right? So I mean, like I said, if you didn't get into a HYROX and you want to try DEKA, you're not going to be disappointed. You're going to have fun.
DEKAs are so fun.
Yeah. It is a good time, and especially again, I will promote the teams and the relays till the end of time. They are the most. They're my favorite races.
Well, I love a doubles HYROX, Dave. So
I like a doubles HYROX too, but I prefer the teams and relays in DEKA. I just like the format better.
Yeah, I've never I've never actually done like I did a doubles with Dustin at a strong, but I've never actually done. So I think I'd like to do that. I think I'd like to go and do a doubles fit with somebody.
Yeah.
I have to go to bed.
All right, go to bed. We're about wrapping up anyway, but go to bed. See you later. Thanks for joining us.
Me.
See you later.
Lauren, congrats on a great run. You're awesome.
Oh, thanks. I don't even know how to exit out of this. I'm just going to shut my laptop and hope it.
There's a leave button on the bottom left. Right. There she goes. She's gone.
I just did it actually for her.
Oh,
that is all I had. We had a lot of stuff on there, Cheryl. I think we got to it all.
I think we got, well, it says here, Matt found the perfect week in sports.
Oh.
What a nice thing to finish on.
I think I found the perfect week in sports. Do you happen to know, do you remember us speaking about a little thing called the enhanced games?
Yes.
Do you know what time of the year that is?
Yeah, it's over Memorial Day weekend in Las Vegas.
Then it's not the perfect week in sports.
Oh. Why do you say that?
Well, hang on a second. I thought.
All right, I'll look it up.
Are you sure they didn't change it?
I'm looking it up.
I think I screwed up.
Oh, I just had to accept all their cookies. Now they're going to think I'm,
Baking.
Let's see. It says Las Vegas 2025, 24th of May, 2026.
All right. Well, I thought it was this. I thought it was the week after Vegas HYROX, and I was like, "Oh my God, it's the perfect week in sports." But I forgot that we already discussed it's famously Memorial Day weekend. Why did I think it was February?
Because that's when the rock and roll marathon's going to be. I mean, you can do the rock and roll half marathon down the strip in Las Vegas.
Didn't we say we were going to do that?
What's that?
Didn't we say we were going to do that?
You said you were going to do that. So Vegas HYROX.
We're going to do that.
The rock and roll marathon is on
a half marathon, Cheryl.
Is he just going to keep talking over me all the time, Dave?
Probably.
Okay. So the discussion was this. Andrea Clyburn and Brian the Ginger wanted Matt and me to be in a relay in Vegas together. And the relays are a Friday night. So I was tasked by Andrea, unbeknownst to Matt, to try to talk him into doing this. And I knew that I wasn't going to be able to talk him into doing it, but I thought I'd give it the college try anyway, because I know he's tired. I know he travels a lot. I know he's got a lot on his plate. And to come in just for a relay was probably a tall order, especially when he talks about how late the relays are and how he never wants to do one again. So the rock and roll marathon is in Las Vegas the same weekend as Las Vegas HYROX. And I crafted a weekend for him. When I told him about the half marathon, he said, well, maybe I just do the half marathon that Sunday. And I said, that would work. Come in for the relay Friday night. I will get tickets to the Sphere Saturday. I found a Saturday afternoon matinee at like 1:30 in the afternoon. So he'd be able to sleep in. We'd go to the Sphere. I'd be able to get done because then I'm running pro the next day probably. And he could go run the half marathon and I would be able to watch him run the half marathon because I would be done with my pro race by then because they run it at night. So you run down the strip. So a lot of people are actually coming in and like running doubles in Vegas and then running the half marathon on the Sunday. There's a 5K and a 10K as well.
So you can always just like bail at the last minute and do the 10K if you decide not to.
I would think nobody would fault you for that.
I love the idea. And if I end up working with a Maze Fit that weekend, then it's absolutely. But if I don't, and it's me coming on my own, it's hard because the DC regional is like the next week.
Right. No, I mean, look, you got a schedule. We understand that. So yeah, but that is the weekend. I think that you were thinking it was Enhanced Games, but it's not. Enhanced Games is still May.
But that is a good weekend though, because
I think it's going to be really fun.
Because
yeah.
I would like to go to the Sphere.
Yeah, right. I actually have free tickets for it this Friday. I'm trying to decide if I'm going to go
For the same event?
For the Sphere. Yeah.
Okay, so it wouldn't be boring to see it again?
I don't know.
You'll find out
if I go.
If you want to check out. Hey, real quick. Because we're all north of age 45. They redid Rocky IV and re-released it. You know, it's a thing now to like re-release movies. It's called Rocky IV, Rocky versus Drago. And we've reimagined it and we're going to put it in the theater. I went with my friend John Cullum, my dear, dear friend that I've known since 7th grade. And first of all, the theater was pretty much empty because it was like a Sunday, 11 o'clock. And because the theater was empty, we basically were being 13 again and joked a lot out loud. That made it a better experience. And it went so quick. Like I thought it was going to be longer. They said they took out 40 minutes and replaced it with another 40 minutes. Now, Rocky famously has, I think, about 28 minutes of montage too. So that, like, let's beef it up a little more. There's only a couple scenes that are different. It's not that different, but if you want to remember what it was like when America was like, yeah, America. There's a little brief, and some of the moments still really pay off, right? Some of the moments really still do pay off. But anyway, so if you want to go see Rocky IV, Rocky versus Drago, it was worth the $13.
Good recommendation.
You know, whatever I paid. I don't know what your relationship is with that movie, guys, but it was very important in my life as a 12 or 13-year-old.
Dave,
great movie.
Did you? Okay.
Great movie. I won't go.
I was more like a Rocky III person, less a Rocky IV person. Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
And that's what's confusing too, is that all the movies always start with the end of the last one.
Yeah.
And so I couldn't remember how Rocky IV started, but there was kind of a quick version of Rocky III in there, and I honestly couldn't remember how much or little they'd added. But Drago had a few more lines, which I kind of didn't like because that was sort of the amazing appeal. This guy says like 3 lines, and he's the scariest thing you've ever seen in your life.
It's supposed to be real machine-like, right? I mean, that was the Soviets were so
exactly
mechanical and yeah.
But I think that's also the thing too, is just like, how can I explain to my kids what that meant? And this is what I said to my friend John, was that the world was smaller or bigger then.
It was simpler.
Well, the idea of, so one of the things they cut out was the stupid robot. By the way, I know we're going to wrap up here shortly. The stupid robot everybody hates. Paulie like falls in love with the gay robot. So the gay robot plotline is gone. But one particular thing about the gay robot was the kids are at home watching the fight on Christmas, and it cuts back to them a couple times. They're like jumping up and down, and maybe the robot's in the background, and they didn't do any of that. And it made me think, that's one of the things that grounded you in what? You're going to Russia to train? You're gonna fight in Russia? It was so foreign and so far away, and his kids at home kind of, but because the whole fucking world is right here now, it just, to try to explain how much that meant, that it really was USA versus Russia. We hate them. We don't understand them. They don't understand us. They hate our way of life. Like, whatever it is. So it made me nostalgic and also sad.
What was the lesson at the end of Rocky IV?
Exactly. That was the whole point. We're
all the same.
these two guys were in the ring killing each other, and it's certainly a lot better than 20 million, because I had an idea of what this place was going to be like, but I've changed. And you know what, Dave? If I change, you can change. Everyone can change. I mean, not right, but I'm saying it to try to I feel like somebody when I was a kid trying to explain the fucking depression.
Right. The Cold War is hard to explain to people.
But it was our whole life, the Cold War.
It was everything. We grew up with it, right? Dave, you did too, right?
Yeah, we didn't care. As long as we could play hockey and have our beer, we didn't give a shit what the rest of you did.
Yeah, I don't think you had the whole...
Someone could come take over Canada. We really don't care.
Yeah,
Whatever.
mutual assured destruction wasn't hanging over your head all the time like it was for us. It was terrible.
Well, I mean, no, we do it. We follow exactly what you guys do. It was all the same. But yeah, we do take a more laid back attitude to a lot of that stuff.
Look, we travel to these countries now for races. Like, when are they going to have a Moscow HYROX and we'll all just like jump on it because it's going to be a major? I mean, we just go everywhere now. Dave, when's the last time you've been in a movie theater?
Last year? Well, not that long ago.
This year.
Oh, sorry. I went this year. No idea. No clue. Can't remember.
Did you fall asleep?
Island Jonathan. We watched that.
I'm being told, but I don't remember.
One with Black Widow's sister.
Oh, Thunderbolts.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
A Marvel
Actually,
movie.
enjoyed that.
Very
I like
nice.
that Marvel movie. So that was it.
I can't even
Thunderbolts.
get
I
my
enjoyed
kids to go anymore, dude. It used to be everything that came out. Now I can't even get them to go anymore. They're
that.
like,
You know
yeah,
what? But
dude.
what you're $13 a ticket, you said, then you're $50 for popcorn, and like so.
I like the movies, Cheryl. I still like going to the movies. Can we see a movie if we don't,
Well, isn't that what we're doing at the Sphere if you come?
Right, but I'm just saying, like, I like the movies.
I'd go to a movie with you, Dave, or Matt. I would.
Thank you.
Yeah. I could see where you'd be fun to go to movies with. I usually don't like going to movies.
I'm a hoot. All right, guys, let's wrap it up. We're at that magic 90-minute mark.
Congratulations on your PR, Matt.
Thank you.
Yes, but you ran faster with Cheryl.
Damn right you did. Let's go.
That's the new bar. The
Listen,
Running with Cheryl bar.
I was literally, before we go, I was just trying to not kill you. You had been having those heart problems. You'd been having,
Right.
I just wanted you to finish. I was so happy that we finished. Now we got till Phoenix. Let's
now we
go.
can push. All right.
Okay.
We'll talk more offline. You'll get Rich and I to design a plan for us.
Thanks, fellas.